Hey guys, Metal Driver here bringing you an AEW Unrivaled review. Today I'll be looking at Series 1, Chris Jericho. So looking at the box, you see this really nice packaging, very similar to the Jakks WWE Classic Superstars packaging. So you got this nice image of Chris Jericho, the AEW logo. Side of the box has an AEW logo, and the other side you get the same logo and an image of Chris Jericho. The back of the box features an image of Chris Jericho, his signature, and the date and event in which this picture was taken, which is Double or Nothing, May 25th, 2019 in Las Vegas, Nevada. And you also see pictures of the rest of the figures that are in this wave. Right now that we have looked at the box, let's go ahead and open this figure up and take a closer look at Le Champion, the demo god, Chris Jericho. Alright, and here is Chris Jericho out of the packaging, but first, let's take a look at the accessories that he comes with. So he comes with a pair of black gloved hands, which are used for his entrance gear. Then he comes with an entrance hat, which fits very well on his head. Then he comes with a scarf for his entrance gear as well. And then his last piece of entrance accessory is his jacket, which is a plastic jacket. It does hinder a bit of the articulation. So I have mentioned this before with the Mattel plastic jackets. I'm not a fan of those. In fact, I really hate them. However, considering this is a first wave figure, I'm willing to let that slide. Perhaps maybe in the future, with a ringside exclusive or maybe a deluxe figure, we can get a soft goods jacket. The jacket is very well detailed. It has a ton of paint, which is really well painted. Some nice sculpt work, so you've got all these studs sculpted and painted. So you've got silvers, blue, you get these zippers here. Then you have some studs and spikes on the shoulder pad. And on the back you've got some more sculpt work. Got some blues here, blues on the back. And you've got the zippers on the sleeves, which are really well painted. So that looks really good. Then you've got the belt of the jacket just hanging, and this is also sculpted really well. Paint came out nice on the zipper here, and the studs here on the jacket look really good. So even though it's a plastic jacket that hinders articulation, it is well made, it is really well painted, so I like how it looks. So this will look great standing on a shelf. Then the glove hands do fit really well, so it looks good. And then to note, when taking off the hands right out of the packaging, there is some plastic covering the sleeve, so you are going to have to pull that out. And then taking a closer look at the scarf, so it looks like it's got some black and silver there. It is see-through, looks really good, it shines nice and sparkly. So it goes really well with his jacket. Alright, let's go ahead and take the accessories off. Alright, now that we have his entrance gear off, let's take a closer look at the head sculpt. So this head sculpt looks really good. It looks like Chris Jericho. So I like how this turned out. I like the expression on his face. He's got this growling looking face. He's pissed off. So the sculpt work came out very well. The paint on mine looks really good. Now, I was fortunate enough where I did have a Walmart that had several Chris Jerichos in stock, so I did pick out the one with the best paint. So this one did have the best paint. A lot of the ones that I saw had his teeth painted on his lips. This was the only one that didn't have that. So as you can see, the teeth are where they're supposed to be. The lips look good. Beard looks good. The eyes look good. The eyebrows, everything's well painted. Then looking at the hair. So it's got his current design where it's pulled back at the top and the back flows out, kind of like a mullet. So this is basically the hairstyle that Shawn Michaels had during his second WWE run in the 2000s. So the sculpt work is really good. It's just one paint. There aren't any highlights, any shadowing, but it does look good. It's got that dirty blonde look that he has. Then looking at the rest of the body. So the one thing I do want to note is that the skin tone on these figures look a little pale. So I'm not the biggest fan of the skin tone on the body. And as you can see, the upper torso has a different skin color than the abdomen. So that's a bit annoying. I do like the flesh tone on the abdomen better than this pale look on the upper torso. So you can kind of see that the arms are also a slightly different color. So that's a bit annoying. Hopefully they do fix that in the second and third waves. We can get some better looking flesh tones. But looking at the arms, here on the right arm, he's got his tattoos on his forearm. Those look pretty good. And then his wrist tape is painted. And looking at his left arm, this is where most of the tattoos he has. So it looks really good. Paint turned out very well. Got some nice colors. Looks pretty crisp for the most part. And looking at the inner bicep, so that looks really good. Forearm looks really good as well. He's got his small tattoo on his hand. So there's a good look at the Fozzy tattoo. Then looking at the lower body. So the laces on the crotch area is painted. The belt is sculpted, painted pretty well. Basically just a gray belt. You got your silver buckle. And then the tights, you got some silvers. Looks really good. It's nice and crisp. No sloppiness or bleeding. Look at the other leg, same thing. So paint came out very well on the tights, on the pants, I should say. Then here at the upper calf, you get this silver, I think it's a zipper. So that turned out really well. Then the sculpting on the boots look really good. So I like how that looks. So you've got some nice thick boots. The laces are well sculpted. So no additional paint there. It's just a solid black plastic. Same thing with the knee pads, just a solid black knee pad. Alright, now going over the articulation. So the head, I believe it's on a ball joint. It doesn't go very far up due to the plastic of the hair, although the plastic here is a soft plastic, so I was hoping that it wouldn't hinder the articulation, but it doesn't go that high up. It can go that far down. The head turns side to side, and it can tilt a little bit. Shoulder has a hinge, which allows it to go that high up, which is actually really good. You can also hear there's a bit of a ratcheting sound there. So comparing that range of motion with an Elite Mattel figure, so that's how far the shoulder goes on this Chris Jericho. So this one goes much higher. The arm can go all the way around. There is a bicep swivel. He has double jointed elbows, which is a nice feature that the AEW Unrivaled figures have, because the Mattel Elite figures only have single jointed elbows. The wrist has a swivel and a hinge. The torso has, I believe, a ball joint at the diaphragm, so it can tilt slightly side to side. He can crunch that far forward, which is really good, and that far back, so pretty good range of motion. So comparing that with an Elite Mattel figure, so this Elite figure can crunch that far back, and it can go that far forward. And also, I do believe there's another ball joint down here, so that gives it further range. So yeah, so he actually crunches even further down, so that's actually really good. And then there isn't a traditional waist swivel, so it kind of crunches a little bit, but he can twist at the upper diaphragm here, so a little bit limited there. And also quickly I would like to compare it with an Ultimate Edition figure. So here we have a Triple H, so it's got a similar point of articulation here with the diaphragm, so he crunches that far forward. And then with the added ball joint down here, Chris Jericho can go a little bit further down. And there's a comparison with how far back they can go. Then look at the lower body, so the hips, there is a ball joint there, so it allows it to go that far out, which is really good. You can see the ball joints there. They're not painted black, so that's a bit annoying, so wish they would have painted those ball joints black instead of flesh tone. The leg can go that high up, which is not the best range of motion there. He does have a thigh cut, double jointed knees, just some pretty good range of motion. There's a cut at the boot. There's a hinge at the ankle, which allows it to go that high up, that far down. And he does have some pretty decent ankle pivot. Alright, and here is the AEW Unrivaled Chris Jericho figure next to a Mattel WWE Elite Attitude Era Chris Jericho figure. And as you can see, they scale very well next to each other. Essentially, they're about the exact same height. Then here's the AEW Chris Jericho next to the WWE Defining Moments Undisputed Champion Chris Jericho. And finally, here's the AEW Chris Jericho next to the WWE List of Jericho Elite figure. Alright, so what are my final thoughts on the AEW Unrivaled Chris Jericho figure? I'm actually really impressed with how it turned out. When the AEW figures were first announced, I wasn't 100% sure if I was going to collect them. I had been checking my local Walmarts to see if they were in stock. It took a while for them to finally stock them, but I was lucky enough to actually find them. And once I saw these figures on the shelves, I decided to pick them up and check them out. And honestly, I'm not disappointed with this figure. I think the sculpt work is really good. I like the accessories that he has. Sure, he has a plastic jacket, which I'm not a fan of, but it is painted well. It is sculpted well. I like the soft goods scarf that he has. The head sculpt looks really good, and the biggest thing that I love is the articulation. He has double jointed elbows, which the Mattel Elite figures have single jointed elbows. In fact, in order to get a double jointed elbow with Mattel, you have to buy the Ultimate Edition figures, which I do love. However, you have to spend $10 more on that in order to get double jointed elbows. I do like the torso articulation. It has better range. It also looks aesthetically better than the Ultimate Edition torso. So for me, the articulation on this figure really wins me over. Now, it's not a perfect figure. It's not flawless. In fact, the biggest flaw that I do see, in my opinion, is the skin tone. I'm not really a big fan of the pale look that he has. And also, the upper torso has a different skin color than the lower part of his torso, which are the abs. But this is a first wave figure, so I am willing to let it slide. hide oftentimes with toy companies. Usually in the first wave we see a few kinks that they're working through, but usually they fix those with the second and third wave. So hopefully they are able to address the skin tone by wave 2 and 3. But other than that, I really love this figure. So if you're an AEW fan, I think you're definitely going to want to pick these up. If you're not the biggest AEW fan, I think you should pick these up. I think the Unrivaled figures are great for wrestling collectors. These are well made and they scale perfectly with your Mattel figures. So if you like this review, go ahead and hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe so you can see WWE Elite reviews. I will be reviewing more AEW figures, and once wave 2 hits, I probably will review that wave as well. So let me know in the comments section below if you're excited for the AEW Unrivaled series, and if you want to see more AEW reviews. As always, stay tuned till the end, see pictures of this figure in action, and I'll see you next time.